A steady anchor in old age, the three things that never betray you. There is an old, deeply reflective saying, the young rely on their parents, but when parents grow old, they often wonder whom to rely on. Old age is when the once steady hand begins to tremble. Before every bowl of rice, every cup of tea, the sleep is no longer deep, and the heart is filled with worry. Will my children love me as much as I have loved them? Throughout our lives, we pour out our effort, our resources, and exhaust our youth for our children. We think that when we are old, they will be our refuge, a firm foundation where we can find peace in our twilight years. But reality teaches us a bitter lesson. Not every child understands, and not every reliance is safe. An elderly person living with their children can sometimes feel lonelier than living alone. Some give away all their assets and homes to their children, only to be neglected and treated coldly in the very house once filled with their own laughter. Because of their love for their children, people forget themselves, and only when they fall ill do they realize that no one can carry the burden of their loneliness. Old age is not frightening because of sickness or poverty. The most terrifying thing is placing your trust in the wrong hands and trusting the rest of your life to someone who does not value it. And then, even with many children and a house full of money, you can feel lost and isolated, like a stranger in your own home. Therefore, if you are passing through midlife or have entered your later years, remember this. No one is anyone's eternal anchor. Only the following three things are truly the safest support in old age. Three things that will never betray you, never abandon you, even in your darkest days. The first thing, health and self-reliance, the foundation of a peaceful old age. In our youth, we thought that having filial children was the greatest happiness. But as we age, we understand that the most precious thing in old age is not the affection of our children, but health and the ability to take care of ourselves. An elderly person may be poor and live simply, but as long as they can walk, cook, do their own laundry, and look after themselves, they still possess freedom, value, and the joy of living. Conversely, when we must rely on others for every meal and every sip of water, our self-respect slowly erodes. At that point, no matter how much our children love us, it cannot compensate for that feeling of helplessness. Resting does not mean dependence. Resting is knowing how to slow down while still being the master of your own life, still keeping your smile, still maintaining small daily habits like brewing a cup of tea, watering the flower bed, or sweeping the yard. That is true happiness. Health is the result of a lifetime of self-love. While you still have the strength, don't hesitate to exercise. Don't use the excuse of being busy taking care of your children to neglect yourself. Self-reliance is the shield that protects old age from loneliness. It is not stubbornness, but knowing how to live contentedly, not bothering anyone, not waiting for anyone, and not demanding anything from anyone. A self-reliant elderly person, even living alone, feels joyful and peaceful. A dependent elderly person, even surrounded by children and grandchildren, can sometimes feel lonely. There is a wonderful saying, when we have health, we are free. When we lose our health, we are bound. Losing health is losing the foundation of everything. Remember, loving your children is not about carrying their burdens, but about staying healthy so they can be at ease. A healthy father and a cheerful mother, that is the greatest blessing a child can receive. The second thing, finances, the second anchor of a wise old age. People often say money can't buy happiness, but in old age we understand that a lack of money makes happiness difficult to complete. When your wallet is empty, you lose not only your confidence, but also your voice in your own home. Many parents work their entire lives saving every penny, but then hand everything over to their children upon retirement. This very trust has led not a few people to spend their final years in sorrow and regret. A poignant and true saying, when there is money in hand, children and grandchildren ask about you politely. When the pocket is empty, no one listens to a word you say. A wise old age is one that knows how to keep a portion for oneself. It is not selfishness, but foresight and self-protection. Do not give away all your money and property to your children too soon. Keeping a little financial security is not just about keeping money. It is about keeping the right to live life your own way and preserving the dignity of a lifetime of honest work. The elderly do not need to be rich, but they must have enough so they do not have to beg, wait, or be dependent. Have enough money to buy medicine when sick, eat what they like, and visit old friends. Can buy small gifts for their grandchildren without needing anyone's permission. That is the most beautiful freedom of old age. A wise elderly person knows to take care of their own needs. Money, when kept in the right place, will be the most loyal friend, one that will not betray or abandon you in times of vulnerability. Remember, keeping some money for yourself isn't for living lavishly, but for living with a voice. Only when you are financially independent can you decide your own life. Be friends with your money. Do not hand it all over to others. That is love with wisdom, not blind devotion. The third thing, inner peace and true friendship, the most enduring support. Even with health and money, we still need a deeper anchor, inner peace and genuine relationships. When the heart is tranquil and still knows how to love, old age will cease to be lonely, even when living alone. The thing that makes people loneliest is not the lack of people around them, but the lack of someone who understands them. Sometimes sitting among a crowd of children and grandchildren, one can still feel empty inside because there is no one left to share their heart with. The most valuable thing in old age is knowing how to preserve your soul and nurture sincere relationships. Inner peace is achieved when we know how to let go of the past, forgive those who hurt us, and forgive ourselves. A happy elderly person is one who knows contentment, knows how to find joy, knows how to smile, and knows how to live slowly. Waking up every morning to brew tea, watch the sunrise, or hear the birds outside is a simple happiness. Friendship is a blessing. Sometimes just an old friend calling to ask you, "How are you doing today?" can warm the heart so much. Keep in touch with old friends, invite them for tea, and share old stories. Don't lock yourself within four walls. Open your heart to embrace what remains, because the more you close off, the more the heart withers. The more you open up, the brighter life becomes. A wise old age is not one of great wealth, but one that can retain a smile, a heart as light as a cloud, and a soul that can still be moved by small things. Learn to be alone without being lonely. Learn to converse with your own heart, because the most loyal and enduring friend in old age is your own soul. Conclusion: the blessing of serenity. These three anchors, health, finances, and inner peace, are the three sturdy bricks that build a serene old age. Among them, the most important anchor is the heart's own ability to love itself. We have spent our entire lives for our children, our spouse, our work, and our responsibilities. But looking back, have we ever asked ourselves if we have truly lived for ourselves? The happiness of the twilight years is not about how many people are by your side, but whether you feel at peace when you are alone. A peaceful elderly person is one who knows how to love themselves, knows how to warm their own life with faith and calmness. Therefore, remember to keep a part for yourself, a part of your strength, a part of your money, and a part of your joyful heart. Do not give everything away to anyone, because you are the only one ultimately responsible for your life. Old age does not need to be rich. It just needs to be light. Light-hearted, light in spirit, and light in debt. To still be healthy, self-reliant, joyful, and able to smile, that is a true blessing. The important thing is not how long we live, but how many days we live in true peace. Thank you for listening. Wishing you and your loved ones always peace, health, and the discovery of the three true anchors of your life. See you in the next videos from the Life-Changing Wisdom Channel.